Hi, this is Amy Romeo from the jewelry making and craft blog, amyromeo.com, and today in this video I'm very excited to show you how to make a really fun project using rhinestones, faux leather, heat transfer vinyl, and a Cricut. I'll be showing you how to make these very cute studded Christmas tree and Christmas wreath earrings with rhinestones and faux leather. You're gonna love it. It's a super fun, very sparkly holiday project. I have the original SVG cut files for you free in my blog's resource library. I'll show you how to grab those if you want to craft along with me. And I'm going to walk you through step by step from cutting the faux leather to applying the vinyl and finally putting on these dazzling rhinestones. So if you're ready to learn how to make this really fun project, let's go ahead and get started. Today in this video, I'm excited to show you all the tools and materials I used to make these really cute rhinestone studded Christmas tree and Christmas wreath faux leather earrings. So I used my Cricut Maker to cut the faux leather and also the heat transfer vinyl. You could also use the Explorer Air 2, the Explorer 3, the Maker 3, or even the Cricut Joy. All of those machines will cut faux leather. I'll be using the green cutting mat and the purple cutting mat to cut my heat transfer vinyl and my faux leather. I'll also be using some blue painter's tape when I cut the faux leather and a weeding tool to weed the vinyl and remove the faux leather from the mat. To press the heat transfer vinyl onto the faux leather, I'll be using my Easy Press Mini. You could also use a regular Easy Press or a home iron. I'll use my heat pressing pad, and this is a Teflon sheet I've cut down to size. You can use this as a cover sheet when pressing or a piece of parchment paper. Just don't use wax paper because that doesn't work well. For the rhinestones, I'm using what are called HotFix rhinestones. They have a little glue on the back that melts when heat is applied to them. And the way that you apply heat with these is a little rhinestone setting tool. And it has these adjustable, interchangeable tips that vary according to the size of the rhinestone you're using. So this is a really simple little tool. I'll show you how that works. And I'll link to where I got all of these materials in the description. This happened to come in a really nice boxed set with all of these rhinestones, many sizes and different colors, and a heat glove and a little ruler, the HotFix applicator, all kinds of fun stuff came in here. I'll link to this and a few other good HotFix rhinestone sets on Amazon. If you don't want to use HotFix rhinestones, you can use regular rhinestones and a glue like Gorilla Glue or E6000. Just make sure they're flat back rhinestones. The rhinestones that I'm using are 20 SS and 16 SS in size. So check your sizes. Rhinestones can be very tiny when they come in the mail if you're not used to ordering rhinestones by size. But like I said, this kit came with appropriate sizes in lots of different colors, which I loved because I wanted my trees and my wreaths to be multicolored. So the faux leather I'll be using is a green smooth faux leather. It has a white felt back, which isn't very attractive, so I will first be pressing some Cricut foil iron-on in a coordinating color onto the back of the faux leather. This makes them look prettier, and it also helps them not curl and have a stiffer look. I'll also be using some red and green glitter heat transfer vinyl for the little elements, the little ribbons and the garlands on the wreath and the Christmas tree. You can use whatever colors of faux leather you like. To attach the earring hooks, I'll be using flat nose pliers, jewelry making pliers, some regular earring hooks. These are just shepherd's hook earrings. Again, I'll link to those on Amazon. And the jump ring size that I like, I prefer 6mm size for making earrings. The Cricut is going to cut the earring hole on these designs for me, but if it doesn't cut all the way through, I always like to use my 1/16 inch hole punch to finish off the hole. And finally, some blue painter's tape to help me cut the faux leather. The last thing that you'll need is the earring SVG templates for the Christmas trees and the wreaths, and I have those for you free in my blog's resource library. So you'll head over to amyromeo.com, and here on the main menu page, you will see resource library, and you can click on Get a Password if you don't already have a password to my library. There's a little form right here where you'll enter your name and your email address. If you already have the password to my resource library, then you'll click on Resource Library. It'll ask you to enter the password and then scroll down. All of my SVG designs are numbered and named, so you will be looking for number 190, and this blue line will say Christmas Tree and Wreath earrings. This is the blue line, the heading that you will click on, and the download of the SVG will automatically begin when you click on that heading. Let's go over to Cricut Design Space and I'll show you how to prepare the SVG for cutting. So you'll click on Upload and then Upload Image, and you will browse to where you've downloaded and unzipped the SVG folder from my library. So when you download the folder from my library, it is zipped and you'll need to unzip it so that you're uploading only the SVG file. So you'll click on that unzipped SVG file and it will appear here in your recently uploaded row. Click on it to select it and click Add to Canvas. This will bring the earring cut shapes into your canvas in Design Space. And you can see that we will be cutting 3 different colors or layers. The green will cut from green faux leather. The red I will be cutting from red glitter heat transfer vinyl, and the gold I will be cutting from gold heat transfer vinyl. If you wanted to use a different color, that's absolutely fine. You can click on the layer you'd like to change and click up here and just pick a different color, and that will change the color. Now, because I'm cutting the both of the vinyls I'm cutting are glitter, I'm going to show you a little cheat to be able to cut both of the colors of vinyl from the same mat to save some time. You wouldn't want to do this if you were cutting regular heat transfer vinyl and glitter, because glitter is often thicker and it needs either more pressure or a repeated cut. But because I'm using the same vinyl for both of those, I can cut them on the same mat. So to do that, I'll click on Color Sync, and what I want to do is just drag one of the vinyl shapes up to the other vinyl shape. This tells Cricut that I want to cut both of these shapes on the same mat. It doesn't mean that I'm going to cut them from the same color, and I'll show you how I do that, but this at least lets the cut take place on the same mat. It's not necessary to change the size of these earrings. They are sized really nicely already for earrings. So here in the mat preview screen, we can see how these little shapes are going to cut. And as I mentioned, I do want to cut these from 2 different colors. So I'm going to just use my mouse and drag them apart so that when I do place the vinyl on the mat to cut, I have a little bit of room. And I always like to make a mental note of what size material I'll need to place on the mat so that I get a complete cut, but I'm not putting too much vinyl on the mat. So it looks like the gold, I'll want it to be just about 3 inches wide and 2 inches tall. And the red, I'll put it over here, and that's going to be about 3 inches wide and 2 inches tall as well. It's not necessary to mirror any of these mats because the earrings are symmetrical versions of each other, and you'll see it just works out. It's like magic. On the faux leather mat, again, I'll just kind of separate them a little tiny bit and make a mental note. I'm going to need a piece of green about a little bigger than 6 inches wide and a little bigger than 2 inches tall. And I'll click the continue button. I always like to cut the faux leather mat first, and to cut the faux leather, I always use the faux leather paper thin setting. If you don't have this setting, you can click on Browse All Materials and search for it. If you're using the Explore Air 2, you'll want to turn your dial to custom first before you search for this material setting. If you want to cut a lot of faux leather in the future, you can click on the little yellow star and that will bring this setting into your favorites for a future use. So let's go ahead and get this first mat prepared to cut, and then I'll show you how I cut faux leather with the Cricut. So before I cut the faux leather with the Cricut, I mentioned that I want to apply some of the foil iron-on to the back of the faux leather so that it looks prettier and it has some structure. So the way I do that is I cut the piece of faux leather to the size that I noted in the matte preview screen, and I cut a piece of the Cricut foil iron-on in the same size. This is just from a foil iron-on sampler. I think this is called Bejeweled. I'll link to this for you. It has a couple of nice colors, nice holiday colors in this package. So I've got my Easy Press Mini heated up. I have it on the low setting. If you're using a regular Easy Press, you'll want to go on the Cricut Heat Guide, which I'll link to for you, and that gives you the time and temperature for all of the different material choices. But the Easy Press Mini is easy, it's just the low setting. So I'll put the faux leather pretty side down and the foil pretty side up so the backs are touching. And I will cover with my little Teflon sheet. As I said, you could also use butcher paper or parchment paper, and just press. When you've pressed enough, you'll want to very carefully try and peel off the top cover layer of the foil. It's a little tricky with fingernails. There we go. And one good tip is to keep the faux leather and the foil flat as possible while you're peeling away so that you don't get wrinkles on your foil. So I've peeled that, and I'm just going to go over one more time and press just to make sure that that foil is well adhered to the back of the faux leather. So now you can see we have foil on the back and we have the pretty green on the front. To cut this, I will use my purple cutting mat, and I will just place this up in the top corner, faux leather side down, in the same spot that I saw on the matte preview screen, and I'll just press that down. And I'll use some blue painter's tape, and I will tape the faux leather down to the mat on all of the sides. Once the faux leather is taped down to the mat, you'll want to check that the star wheels on your machine are off to the side. These are the little star wheels, and they help pull the mat in, and they have little tracks on them. You don't want these little tracks going over your faux leather. So kind of push them off to the side if this is your first time cutting faux leather. So we already have our material selection figured out in Design Space. Let's head back over there, and I will click on faux leather paper thin, and I always like to choose more pressure. Faux leather paper thin is an automatic double cut, so we will cut the material again if necessary. That would be 4 cuts or 6 cuts, but usually cutting with faux leather paper thin and then repeating the cut works just fine. So now we're ready to load the mat into the machine, and we just line it up and press the double arrow button and the C button to begin the cut. When the cut is complete, I like to take my sharp weeding tool and just lift up the edge and see if it looks like the cut went all the way through. It looks like it did. I'm going to let it run one more time. The way to do that is to press the C button before unloading the mat. That will repeat the cut. If you're using the Cricut Joy, the way to repeat a cut will be on your screen in Design Space. You can click to either unload the mat and complete the cut or rerun the cut. But here I'm just going to press the C button and let it cut again. I'll unload the mat by pressing the double arrow button, and I'll just sort of pull back the corner of the mat a little bit and peel to remove my shapes. So a couple of things to note: if you get any little parts that are stuck, like this one is, just use some small sharp scissors to trim. And the other thing I wanted to show you was the Cricut cut the hole for the earrings in place, but it didn't cut it all the way through, and that's okay. That happens sometimes. That's why I like to have my 1/16 inch hole punch on hand to finish up the hole. The good thing about letting the Cricut attempt to make the hole A lot of times it cuts all the way through, but even if it doesn't, it does give you a little marking place to know where to hole punch. The last thing I wanted to show you was, you'll see that there's sort of some crimped edging on the foil when the blade cut through it, and we can eliminate those little crimped areas just by pressing again. So I'll get my heat pressing pad out again, very quickly just put these down on the mat. Again, my Easy Press Mini on the low setting, cover, and just press. This step isn't necessary, but it is just a nice way to sort of flatten out the back. See how the edges are flatter? So now that we've done that, the last thing I wanted to show you before we move on to cutting the vinyl is you can see the white edge of this green faux leather. And if you don't like that, it's very easy just to color it with a color coordinated Sharpie. So I have a whole collection of Sharpies. I just picked a nice dark green, and I'm just going to go all the way around inside and out and color the edges. And it does take a few minutes, but it really adds a nice finished look to the earrings so you don't see the white. You'll want to go on the inside here and all around on the outside. I'll finish doing coloring that in just a moment, but I did want to show you how to cut the vinyl mat. As I promised, we were going to cut both of the colors on the same mat. So let's go back over to Design Space, and I will click on that mat and remind myself of the locations that I need to place the material. So let me just take a look at this while I'm getting this ready. So it looks like the gold is going to need to go, about to the 4. Okay. I'm going to cut these quickly, and then I will flip back over and show you what I'm doing. The glitter heat transfer vinyl, while I'm here, let me go ahead and make the material selection. I like to choose glitter vinyl, and I like to use the default pressure so that I can repeat the cut if necessary. The glitter heat transfer vinyl that I'm using is Caesar brand, and it's a little thicker than Cricut brand, so it often needs a second cut. So here I'm going to put the shiny side down of the glitter heat transfer vinyl on my mat. And if your mat is a little older and less sticky like mine is, it's okay to go through and just hit it with a little bit of blue painter's tape to get it to stick. I've already made my material selection of glitter vinyl, so I will go ahead and load this mat into the machine and make the cut. Because this is that thicker Caesar glitter, I'm going to repeat the cut by pressing the C button, just to be sure that it cut all the way through. Once the cut is complete, you can unload the mat. And I'm going to see if you can see. Not really. Well, I know the cuts are there, and I'm going to remove the glitter vinyl from the mat and then use my sharp weeding tool to weed away the excess vinyl so that only the shapes that I cut remain on the mat. So because I cut this twice, you can see it's a really nice easy cut and nice easy weed. And what I will do is take a few minutes to remove both of these vinyl pieces, weed them out, and then I will get ready to show you how to press these onto the wreaths and the Christmas trees and then apply the rhinestone decorations. So I've weeded away the excess vinyl on the glitter vinyl shapes, so these are ready to press onto my faux leather trees and my wreaths. I've already gone through and touched up all the edges with the green Sharpie like I showed you, and what I will do after I apply the vinyl is I will do the hole punch just to make sure that the hole goes through the vinyl layers and the Christmas trees. So I've got my Easy Press Mini on the low setting again, that one little green bar, and I'm actually going to preheat my rhinestone setter as well. So this, I told you, comes with these little tips, and the tip, it's sort of a concave shape that's meant to hold the top of the HotFix rhinestone. So it just has a screw-in base, and I'm just going to screw it in. I want to do this now before I turn it on because then this will be hot. So it's got a little on off here. I'll just turn that on, get it going, and let it sit here on the little stand that it comes with. So the first thing I'll do is line up my little vinyl garland on the trees, and you want to make sure they match up. You can flip them over on the back, make sure that it's lined up correctly. That one looks good. And I'll do the same thing here. And I will just cover with my little Teflon sheet and press. This will be hot, so be careful. So carefully peel away the cover sheet. If any of the vinyl is still sticking to the top, then just lay it right back down and press it again. That looks good. We'll do this one. Carefully, great. And I always like to go over and just press one more time now that the transfer sheet has been removed, just to make sure that the vinyl sticks well. So they're the little trees, and you may be able to see, because there was a little cut hole in the vinyl, a little circle for the earring hole, I know exactly where to punch with the earring punch. So I will go ahead and do that. And this works just like a regular paper punch. Just line it up and squeeze. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it made a nice hole. You may need to use small scissors and just get rid of that little part that's stuck back there. You can also touch this up, touch up the hole after you make it with your green Sharpie. And I'll just show you how I use my little tiny scissors to get in there and trim that off. So we'll do the same thing for the wreaths. We will line up so now we've got both of those ready to press. We'll cover them again and press. And I've got a little hole marker again there so I know where to punch. There we go, perfect. Okay, so again, I'm using HotFix rhinestones in a 16SS and 20SS size. I showed you the package that I got on Amazon. There are a lot of really pretty colors in here in this size that's not too tiny, so they're not super frustrating, and I thought they would make good ornaments. So you can go through, there's a lot of different holiday colors. There's a whole box of clear rhinestones, and there's a whole box of clear with that Aurora Borealis finish, that rainbow finish. So really your rhinestone choice is completely up to you. Again, if you don't want to use HotFix rhinestones, then you can use regular flat back rhinestones with some glue on the back. I recommend using tweezers and a glue like E6000. So I've got my little tip on here, and I'm going to make the matching earring for this one. I've already chosen my little rhinestones, and I'll show you how easy this is to do. So I'm just going to pick it up, put it in its spot, and then use my, let me go up this way. I'm going to use this one as a guide. Okay. And then with the hot tip, I just press down. And that's going to apply the heat onto the top of the rhinestone, which will melt the glue underneath, and then the rhinestone will stick. You can see it right there. And you can see the little tip is indented, so it sits right on top of that dome-shaped rhinestone. And I will just continue along. This would be really pretty if you wanted to do ornaments in certain colors like red, white, and green, or you wanted to do all silver like I did on the wreaths, or you wanted to do all, you know, bright colors. Really, it's up to you. But this is a good size for ornaments. It just takes a few seconds to hold the applicator onto the rhinestones for that glue to melt. So if you don't have one of these HotFix applicators, you can definitely use a cover sheet and use the Easy Press Mini. That would be a really good thing to do. I tried that, and it does take a little bit longer time for the heat to transfer through and to melt the glue on the back, but it does work. Or as I said, you could use glue and regular rhinestones. Isn't that cute? It's a little hard to see, but they're very sparkly and very cute. So we've got that one done, and I'll show you quickly one of these, and then I'll show you how to attach the earring hooks. So on this one, I'm doing some of the larger stones and the smaller stones. If you're going to do a lot of the smaller stones, then I recommend that you switch to the tip that is made for the smaller stones. But I'm only doing a few, and I think it'll be fine. Just using the tip that I have here. I also have some tweezers, which will help. So I've got those finished, and now I'm just going to attach the earring hooks. And if you've seen me do a lot of earring videos, you know that the first thing we need to do is turn the bottom loop on the earring hook so that the earring will hang straight. And the way I do that is by using flat nose pliers, gripping the loop at the bottom of the earring hook between the pliers, gripping the hook between my thumb and forefinger to keep it secure and keep it from breaking, and then just twisting 90 degrees to turn that loop so it's facing forward. And then we will just get some little jump rings here. I like to use 2 pliers to open my jump rings. There is an opening in the jump ring. I like to put it facing up at the 12 o'clock position, and then hold 1 pair of flat nose pliers on each side, and then just twist to open. Whoops, it's a little hard to do in mid-air. Twist to open, and then I will put on the little Christmas tree and put on my earring hook. To close it up, I just reverse. Let me see if I can show you that. I just reverse the twist of my wrist. And there you have it. So you repeat that for the little wreaths, and your earrings are complete. I hope you like this project. If you're interested in making more Cricut holiday earrings for the holidays this year, keep watching this video. I'll have a playlist for you of all of my best holiday earrings that you can make with a Cricut. Some of my favorite designs like candy canes and Santas, penguin earrings, snowman earrings, you name it. So I hope you'll stick around and watch some of those, and thanks for watching.